Well, this video is based on the insights of American psychiatrist Dr. Alok Kanogia. So, let's kick things off with his words. If you're one of those people who really loves playing video games, you might feel like you're living life on hard mode. That's because while others have fun playing sports or hanging out with friends, you'd rather stay home gaming. And that's fine, it can be a blast, but sometimes it also feels like life is zooming by too fast. A lot of folks might think that being so into video games is a downside, something negative. I used to feel that way myself when I was in med school, training to be a psychiatrist at Harvard. I'd see my classmates making the most of their time with all sorts of activities, while I was spending 10 to 20 hours a week just gaming. I'd ask myself, what could I have done with that time if I hadn't been so hooked on games, if I weren't so lazy, or if I didn't procrastinate so much? That's what we think about ourselves, that we're lazy, that we can't find motivation, that we lack discipline. But here's the good news. We can change that. The key to making it happen is realizing you're not really lazy. It's the games messing with your brain in ways we don't fully get yet. Let's dive into two neurotransmitters that affect our mood and behavior: dopamine and serotonin. First up, dopamine. It's the one tied to rewards, pleasure, and reinforcing habits. It usually kicks in from external triggers. For example, when you're gaming and having fun, dopamine gets released, making you feel good and wanting to keep playing. Basically, it pushes you to repeat what you're doing. Serotonin, though, works differently. It gives you an internal, lasting sense of well-being and confidence. If you look closely, gamers are always caught up in stuff that releases dopamine, but don't get much serotonin going. That leads to short-term fun without real well-being, which can keep players glued to the screen, dodging the real world that demands confidence. That's why stepping out of the gaming comfort zone is tougher. Facing uncertainty and a lack of confidence feels uncomfortable. It hurts, and it might make you wonder, why am I so lazy? Or why am I so pathetic? To get a clearer picture, here's a real-life example. When I was trying to kick my gaming addiction, I took up rafting. Whitewater rafting is packed with challenges and adrenaline, pure dopamine territory. After a session, even with your body aching the next day, you feel amazing for tackling it. It's not instant gratification, but a lasting sense of achievement and pride. That's pretty different from what gamers experience, chasing quick dopamine hits, but missing out on serotonin and the well-being it brings. Another example is studying for a test. It's a process that takes effort. Sometimes it's a drag, but it pays off when you get the reward, a good grade. Later on, when you graduate, you savor the bigger win and feel that serotonin boost. But gamers don't always go through this. Take me, for instance. I hit rank 83 in the US for Warcraft 3, my best ever, but I couldn't really enjoy it. There was no real reason to celebrate. No one was throwing a party for making the top 100. So even after crushing it in games, I didn't feel good about myself. What we see in gamers is a reliance on dopamine. They get bored fast. At the same time, they shy away from activities that spark serotonin because those take more effort, are harder, and don't feel good right away, even though they know it'd make them feel way better about themselves. If you're a gamer and want to get past this aversion to serotonin-boosting activities, you've got to start diving into them. The trick is balance. If you're holed up in your room, gaming most of the time, you're not just going to up and go to a party or hike with strangers. I once worked with a gamer who was stoked to learn freediving, but without gear. We set up short stages where he'd hold his breath as long as he could without passing out. Starting at 30 seconds, he gradually worked up to several minutes. That way, he brought that lasting well-being to himself, which was the big goal. So, find something challenging, doable, and even if it's not super fun, go for it. That's how you'll tap into serotonin's benefits. The second point is how games mess with your negative emotions. When we play video games, they dial down those feelings, especially the ones tied to the amygdala, the brain part that handles fear, anxiety, and panic. Here's a key thing about the amygdala. It gets extra jumpy when serotonin's low, making negative emotions hit harder. Playing a ton, getting heaps of dopamine without serotonin, leaves the amygdala super sensitive. That makes gamers feel fear, anxiety, and panic faster and stronger than others. In serious cases, when psychiatric help steps in, serotonin-based meds are often needed to balance things out. What's behind an overactive amygdala could be low serotonin or the brain's natural urge to ditch negative emotions. Back in the day, to make those feelings vanish, we'd have to go solve a problem. Like, if you felt lonely, you'd talk to someone. With video games, they disappear almost instantly. Sounds great, right? But the catch is, When we shut off that emotional circuit, we stop learning. If you're a gamer, you might be missing out on real-life learning opportunities. While others move forward in school, work, relationships, or family, gamers can feel stuck, even in their 20s, with some progress. It feels like they're lagging, like growing up is tougher for them. Video games mess with our ability to learn from mistakes, especially procrastination. I've been there, in college. I'd procrastinate and game a bunch. When the test day loomed, I'd cram like crazy, pass, but always regret not starting sooner. And even knowing that, I'd do it again next time. That's common for gamers. They can crush it in short bursts, but could do so much more without games holding them back. So how do we fix it? Gamers move slower in life because of an experience penalty. The hippocampus, which handles learning and memory, gets bogged down. What drives it is negative emotion, like if you get food poisoning at a restaurant, you're not going back. If you're betrayed in a relationship, trusting again can be rough. Those negative emotions put us in a prime learning state. But video games shut that down, offering pleasure and pain relief, cutting blood flow to spots like the amygdala. That's why we play, but it tanks our learning. That's the experience penalty. The fix? Face your negative emotions instead of numbing them. You don't need to fix or process them. They'll sort themselves out. I strongly suggest gamers practice feeling those emotions instead of dodging them. A simple trick is to sit or walk for 15 minutes when they hit. Another is to stare at a wall for 20 minutes to an hour. You'll notice those negative feelings popping up. The point isn't to fix them, just feel them. Once you can handle that, you won't need games as an escape and your brain's emotional circuit starts to heal. It's worth knowing emotions have an evolutionary purpose. For at least 5,000 years, if someone felt lonely, it pushed them to connect with others, just like hunger makes us eat. Negative emotions are crucial. They drive us towards survival essentials. The third point is that video games automate everything for us. In games, it's all laid out. Tutorials, main and side quests, mini-maps, rules, mechanics on YouTube. It makes playing a breeze. The issue? While games guide you clearly, real life doesn't. Working with gamers, I found they've got a specific gap. They can't analyze and solve problems, breaking abstract tasks into smaller bits. That's because games have done it for them forever, letting those brain circuits waste away, like an unused muscle. That's why gamers struggle to move forward in life. They haven't learned to tackle big goals. Being happy, financially free, or in a relationship. They're used to games spelling it all out, and in real life, there's no quest markers, social chats aren't scripted, no exclamation points over people's heads saying you can talk to them, and no right click to check your rep. It leaves gamers lost, unsure how to succeed, or hit their goals, because life doesn't come with a tutorial like they're used to. They think they procrastinate because they never start, but really they don't start because they don't know how. For years, a computer fed them all the steps. The challenge now is teaching them to automate abstract tasks, splitting big goals into small chunks, like games with checkpoints and mission stages. The best way is using our cognitive skills. For anything you want but can't do right now, split it in two. Say your goal is financial independence. Break it into get a job and retire. If you can't do that yet, split more. Get a job becomes gain experience and apply. Can't apply yet? Split again. Apply turns into have a resume and get an interview. No resume? Find a template and make one. Keep breaking it down till you've got a list of tiny tasks like game missions where you earn XP to move toward the main quest. Your goals. This is huge because it trains your brain to handle big real-life goals. So we can see that gaming a lot, especially since childhood, can mess with brain development and cause specific deficits. Gamers often think these flaws are just who they are, like they chose to be lazy, but these neurological hiccups come from games. When we flip that with stuff like problem solving and facing emotions instead of hiding in games, we can learn again and cut that real-life XP penalty. Lastly, the big thing is understanding that to beat dopamine dependency and serotonin aversion, you've got to dive into serotonin-boosting activities. When you build well-being and confidence through them, the world gets less scary, negative effects fade, and gamers can play the game of life on fairer ground. So, that is the pretty end of this video. Are you guys enjoying my content? I don't really like too much editing because, well, number one, I suck at it. And two, I really like this type of video, like just a conversation with you guys, so and subscribe to help me keep going, and yeah, bye-bye.